Where we see the advantage of the PIR is not so much the rebate that it represents, great to get, but the biggest advantage I see is our ability to measure ourselves against our peers, but more importantly, how we measure against ourselves.
Horizon is a fantastic place to work. Their safety culture is top-notch.
I'm proud that we've grown our company tremendously in the 7 years that I've been here. And at the same time, we've reduced our injuries and reduced our incidents, and we've become much better at looking after our people.
Safety's evolved so much. I've been doing this for well over 25 years now.
We meet with all of our outbound staff every day, and we talk about a safety message, a specific safety message every week.
Leadership makes sure that our jobs are being done safely. They work with you, and they just make sure that everybody gets home at the end of every day.
So if we see opportunities and how we've done in the past, how can we do better? Modified work, for one, needs to be meaningful for the employee, but also has to be meaningful to the employer. One of the positive outcomes from modified work, and one in particular stands out, and that's Sue.
I was at Sonata Lodge, which was the previous camp to where we are now, and I was going out the front door and held the door with my heel, and I just waited for my coworker to go through. And then when I went to remove myself from the door, I pushed the door back, kind of kicked it back a bit, and the hydraulics came back quickly, more quick than I thought or had time for, and so it tore into my heel and actually in the end tore the Achilles tendon.
She was injured from the pinch point and ended up doing some clerical duties, some sedentary duties. From that, we identified she had a real good understanding of how to manage and how to work with people.
They really set up a great modified program so that I had always that sense of well-being in my wheelchair, during having the cast, crutches, whatever it was. I never felt like I was a burden to them.
And through her modified program, we identified some strengths, and now she's a camp manager for us, so since been promoted.
To have been that worker on the other side, if you will, I can say to other workers and other managers that Horizon's program is fantastic. It really is what we say we are. It's very thorough. They keep checking on you weekly, make sure your progress is what it's supposed to be, because in the end, their goal is that you be back to where you were. And I'm a runner. So actually the day I got hurt, I did my personal best on the treadmill. So it was like, okay, that's what I have to get back to. And I felt that sense of, cheering me on, and that the injury wasn't okay, that it happened. And it was no one's fault in that sense, but knowing now what I know, and having full awareness of where my body's positioned, I would have chose different that day.
We were asked to participate in the core process, and we've always had safety as a very high value item, and so we kind of leaped at the opportunity and tried to put the infrastructure in place to make this happen.
The rationale for the university moving towards core was really to allow us to benchmark our health and safety management system.
One of the big challenges that we have is the scope and breadth of our operations. We have over 800 labs that we operate. All of those labs need to be completely up to par in terms of safety in order to ensure that we protect our people.
We have actually developed in partnerships with AASP, who is our certifying partner, a 4-year audit plan.
The Dean of the Faculty is actually ultimately responsible for all of the operations of a faculty. I can tell you for sure the thing that keeps me up at night the most is making sure that our students and staff are safe. Anytime that they're in a lab, it's a concern for me. Anytime that they're on a field trip, it's a concern for me. These are the people who've been entrusted to us, if you will, and we take that very, very seriously. And I saw this as an absolutely critical part of my job responsibility.
Going through this process ensures that we have proper processes are able to teach our students what processes should be in place, how they learn to protect themselves, basically by going through the hazard assessments, making sure they have a communication plan wherever they go out in the field. And this applies also to the classroom, to the labs, or any new situation they're in.
So I think the biggest challenges that we were faced with was, first of all, understanding the process and understanding how our processes overlapped or didn't overlap with what the checklists and the various checkpoints associated with CORE were. So first of all, we had to educate.
So we hosted 50 workshops, for example, for hazard assessments. So we have approximately 1,000 hazard assessments now, all tied to job profiles.
The processes of going through the CORE audit allowed us to actually confirm that our processes were valid and we were doing the right thing, and also helped us identify opportunities for improvements.
The challenge was communicating. So communicating requirements and driving change. So it was really about being able to engage those staff, faculty, and students in the dialogue, and then drive the implementation of the program.
Staff are always aware of safety kinds of concerns, so it was easy to keep them engaged. They were deeply committed to this to start with, as they have been for years at the University of Calgary.
It is absolutely important for the university to continue this process. We are looked at as leaders in the community, so it's very important for our industry partners that we continue this process, because they look to us to ensure that any joint ventures that we engage with them, our students, our staff, our facilities, and our methods in the field really mesh well with their own processes.